and welcome to episode 1 of the Creative Mug series. I'm really excited for you guys to try this one out. I think that it's one that students particularly enjoy, especially because we're taking the skills that you learned in our last project where you were creating a textured cylinder mug, and you're going to take those same skills and bump it up a level. So my example for this project was creating a unicorn, and as you can see, I started with a similar cylinder to what we learned in our last project, but then I added a lot of three-dimensional details that were very raised from the cylinder to make it creative. So that's what we're going to be working on for this project, and I'm going to begin this episode by showing you a lot of different possible directions that you could go with this project, because you have a lot of freedom with choosing where you want to take this. We're also going to go through the different categories of the rubric so you can make sure that you understand what is expected of you to get the best grade possible, and then we'll move into your brainstorming process. So let's go ahead and get started.
Like I said before, we're going to be continuing to work with a cylinder shape for this mug, and we'll be using the same templates, including the wall and the circle base, to create this cylinder. As you'll see in a lot of the following examples, quite a few of your designs may incorporate something that's rounded, that's connected onto your cylinder. So two options, as you can see, would be to add a pinch pot to the bottom underneath your mug and replace your circle base with a pinch pot, or you can add a pinch pot to the sides of your mug to help create a rounded space there as well. Before you begin creating this project, it's important to talk about the requirements on the rubric to make sure that you're meeting all of the expectations and getting the highest grade possible. The first requirement we'll discuss is having a theme of a person, place, object, or animal. As you can see, to get the full 10 points for this category, it says the mug has been transformed into a person, place, object, or animal. The theme is clear in every detail. To get 9 points, it says the mug clearly has a theme and resembles a person, place, object, or animal. So that distinction is just making sure that you're adding enough detail to make it really transformed into your theme or concept. The next category specific to this project is having 3D additions that protrude from the cylinder. To get the full 10 points, it says the mug has 4 or more 3D details that protrude at least 1 inch and help communicate the theme. So when you're adding your areas of detail, they have to stick out from your cylinder at least 1 inch to be counted, which also means that they do have to be hollowed out to be counted. Which leads us to our next category, wall thickness and hollowing correctly. To get the full 10 points, it says there is no question that the entire project is hollowed out correctly and the thickness is perfect. Now, hollowing out something that is a functional piece of pottery comes with its own set of challenges. Now, if we were adding the little sphere that's on the mug on the left to our project as a protruding addition, we would have some problems if we added our air holes the way that we have the two options on the right side. So if we have the air hole that's leading just directly to the inside of the mug, then some of that liquid can spill over into the inside of the mug, and we wouldn't be able to clean that area out if it got inside of that hollow space. Same with if we put the hole on the outside of the mug, just having that small opening that leads to a hollow area is a really big problem when you're working with a functional piece of pottery, because we have to wash these pieces and we'll have liquid inside of these pieces. So having any liquid getting trapped inside of that hollow space is really a big concern. Here are some appropriate ways to hollow out some three-dimensional additions. So first, just having it opened up so that you can access the inside of that hollow space to clean it is really what we're looking for. And you can do that by hollowing it out from the inside so that you can just reach your hand in to clean there. You can also do the hollowing from underneath the detail, and you could just attach your three-dimensional piece onto the bottom and have it hollowed out that way. The other categories of the rubric to consider are quality details, wall thickness and hollowing correctly, the mug lip, the attachment of your handle, the smoothness of your texture, the seams, having a sturdy structure, and last but not least, your effort and use of class time. For the next portion of this episode, I wanted to show you some examples that you could consider using as inspiration for this project. Now, on this slide, I thought it was really cute. I love the udders on the bottom of that cow, and that's an example of using feet underneath this mug, so having something underneath and supporting. Similar to the little elf shoes on the one next to it, we have the tires on the moped, the little feet of the elephant, of the little gnome, even the bottom of Chip, the cup from Beauty and the Beast. So incorporating a little bit of a base is a great option. Here are some more examples, and I thought that these ones did a great job of transforming the entire mug into something else. So for example, turning it into a cheeseburger, into a candy skull, a cactus, a pineapple, even into a panda. There's lots of great options. Some students think this example is kind of gross, but I love the toilet mug. Oh my gosh, I think it's so funny. It's also kind of cool, the option of adding a basketball hoop to kind of make it an interactive project so that you can shoot baskets with marshmallows. And I also really love the outer space astronaut that's exploring on the moon, and it just took that cylinder shape and added the texture of the moon rather than trying to make it spherical, which is a great option. This next set of examples includes things that are not protruding quite as far out from the mug side, but I thought that they were worthwhile to show you because creating something and having it attach with just like the small rounded part on the side is not as structurally sound as creating something that has a flatter base to attach with. So I wanted to show you these examples, although you do need to consider ways to make sure your attachments are protruding at least 1 inch. These next examples are similar, where it's showing you just some possibilities of adding things to the side. Just keep in mind that you do have to have your additions protruding at least 1 inch. Here are some mugs that were turned into animals, and some of my personal favorites are the T-Rex down at the bottom. I love his little hands sticking out. Here are some more animals, and I thought that the turtle shell was a cute way to change the shape of the mug. These next examples are based off of characters that you might recognize. I thought that the Jake mug was super cute, although you'd need a lot more detail added. And I also really enjoyed the Pikachu. Here are some more character examples. I love the Pickle Rick, and I thought that the Yoda ears were a great option for what you can do to incorporate the handle design as part of your creativity. Here's a set of examples that are like a little surprise in the bottom. So once you drink down your liquid, you'll slowly reveal the thing that you attach to the base, and you can do some really interesting things that you're slowly revealing. For these next examples, I wanted to show you some interesting ways that you could create a handle. I thought that the Eeyore with the balloons holding up his tail was an interesting way to add a really creative handle. I also really enjoyed the axe handle and how it's actually indenting the mug, which I thought was pretty cool. These are some more excellent handle examples, and I thought that the shark was a really cool option because they just removed the actual mouth and face and turned the rest of the mug into the body with the opening. And I really loved the controller for the Game Over mug, and that's how you would pick it up.
Now that you've seen some of the possibilities for this project, I'd like to explain your brainstorming process. You'll begin in this packet where you're going to go through and look at all of the examples, which a lot of the ones that I just showed are included in the back of this packet. And you're going to go through and choose your top 5 favorite mugs. Next, you're going to briefly describe them, and then you're going to describe 3 more possibilities you're considering making for your mug. So at the end of this, you should have 8 total options. And although these are possibilities that you saw reference photos of, you should know that you shouldn't directly be copying them. They're just like potential directions to go with this project. Next, you're going to narrow down your ideas into these 3 separate possibilities, and you're going to write down your main idea and then 3 details that you could consider adding to it. Now, remember that for part of this project, you have to have details that are at least an inch out from your cylinder, so protruding from your cylinder at least 1 inch. So you're going to list details that could be protruding and very intricate attached to your cylinder. Then you're going to go down to the bottom and draw out 2 different ideas. And I know that students get very attached to some ideas that they have for this project, and they're like, well, do I have to draw another because I already know I want to do this? Yes, you do, because typically your first idea is not your most creative idea. So I do want you to draw 2 different options. This is all related to this episode, but before you begin working on the second page, I would like for you to watch episode 2, and it's going to break down all of the different steps you're going to need to know to complete this project with clay. So watch that second episode first, but just briefly I'm going to explain that you're going to describe your additions that you're planning on adding. There are sections of the rubric up at the top that you'll need to pay attention to, such as the requirement of a theme of a person, place, object, or animal, 3D additions that help communicate the theme, and quality details. So keeping those in mind, you're going to draw both the front and the back of your mug. And students always try to get away with just drawing that front, but you do have to be thinking 3-dimensionally because your project needs to be interesting all the way around that cylinder. So yes, you do indeed need to draw the front and the back for this brainstorming process.
So the first step for this project will be completing that packet and the brainstorming process. Don't forget that I am an excellent resource, so if there's something that you are interested in creating and you're not quite sure how to do it, come up and ask me and I would gladly help you walk through some possible options.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode. I hope that seeing all of these examples of things that you could potentially create made you excited, because this is something that you'll be able to keep and have forever, or you can give it as a gift, and people love getting these things. So I hope that you are feeling excited and looking forward to the next step. And in our next episode, I'm going to be breaking down the process that I took to create my example of this project. And although it may be a little bit different from what you're creating, hopefully you don't just copy what I created, but it may be a little different, but I do think that it's a form of research to take the ideas that someone else used for their process of creating and apply it to your own process. So I will see you in our next episode.
Thanks for watching.